Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
You want to know what's going to haunt Phillies fans for the next decade? It's not a trade we made, it's a trade we didn't make. And I'm talking about a specific deal that was sitting right there, staring us in the face, that would have completely changed the trajectory of this franchise. I'm talking about the trade package that could have fixed everything. The one that addressed multiple weaknesses in one swoop, the one that smart front offices pull off while average ones sit on their hands. And we're about to watch another winter go by without making a move like this because Dombrowski's either too stubborn or too scared to pull the trigger on something bold. Here's the trade that should have happened last year and needs to happen right now if there's any hope of salvaging this situation. We package Alec, Bohm, Ranger Suárez, and Brandon Marsh together, and we send them to a team like the Brewers or the Guardians, organizations that are desperate for cost-controlled major league talent and have exactly what we need: young pitching, defensive-minded players, and organizational depth. In return, we get a haul. We're talking multiple controllable starting pitchers, a legitimate defensive center fielder, maybe a catching prospect, and suddenly we've addressed 3 or 4 of our biggest weaknesses in one move. That's the kind of trade that wins championships. That's the kind of bold move that separates contenders from pretenders. Think about what this accomplishes. First, we get out from under Bohm, who's a defensive liability at a premium position. The Brewers or Guardians would love him because they play in pitcher-friendly parks where his lack of power doesn't matter as much and they can hide his defense better than we can. Second, we move Suárez before everyone realizes he's a fourth starter masquerading as a 3, and we do it while he still has value from that inflated first-half performance. Third, we trade Marsh, who's a solid player but ultimately a fourth outfielder, to a team that would use him properly. And in return, we get the kind of young, controllable talent that actually builds sustainable winners. The pitching we'd get back is crucial because our organizational depth is non-existent. The Brewers have arms everywhere. The Guardians develop pitchers better than anyone in baseball. We could get 2 or 3 guys who are major league ready or close to it, guys on cheap contracts for the next 4 or 5 years. That's how you supplement expensive veterans. That's how you build a complete roster instead of being top-heavy with no depth. But it requires Dombrowski to admit that the guys we have aren't good enough, and that seems to be impossible for him. The defensive center fielder piece is maybe the most important return we'd get. Our outfield defense is atrocious. We need speed, range, someone who can actually cover ground in the gaps. The Brewers and Guardians both have prospects like that in their systems, guys who might not hit 30 home runs, but who can play elite defense and get on base. That's more valuable than what we currently have, which is 3 corner outfielders pretending to cover the entire outfield. Getting a true center fielder would transform our entire defensive alignment and probably save us 10 to 15 runs over a season, which is the difference between winning and losing close games in October. But here's why this trade hasn't happened and probably won't happen. It requires humility. It requires admitting that multiple previous decisions were wrong. Bohm was a first-round pick. Trading him feels like giving up on organizational development. Suárez is a homegrown success story. Moving him feels like betrayal. Marsh is a fan favorite because of his energy and effort. Trading all 3 at once would be admitting that our player evaluation has been flawed and our roster construction hasn't worked. Dombrowski's ego won't allow that. Middleton's impatience won't allow that. So we'll stand pat, run it back with the same flawed pieces and waste another year. The opportunity cost of not making this kind of trade is staggering. Every year we wait is another year our expensive veterans get older. Every year we delay is another year without young, cost-controlled talent contributing. Every year we refuse to make bold moves is another year closer to this entire window slamming shut with nothing to show for it. The time to act is now while these players still have value, while we can still get a significant return. Wait another year and Bohm's defensive issues become impossible to ignore. Wait another year and Suárez's declining peripherals become obvious to everyone. Wait another year and we get pennies on the dollar instead of the haul we could get right now. Think about how this trade changes our entire roster dynamic. Suddenly we've got young pitching depth, which means we're not panicking when someone gets hurt. We've got a defensive center fielder, which improves everyone else's positioning and range requirements. We've got organizational depth for the first time in years, which means we can actually weather injuries and slumps without completely falling apart. And we've done all of this without breaking the bank on expensive free agents, which means we maintain financial flexibility to address other needs like the bullpen. That's smart roster construction. That's how the Dodgers and Braves operate. That's what we should be doing. The specific team matters less than the concept. Maybe it's the Brewers, maybe it's the Guardians, maybe it's the Rays if we want to get really creative. The point is, there are organizations out there with exactly what we need who would love to have what we're offering. Cost-controlled major league talent is valuable. Teams will pay a premium for it, but you have to be willing to make the call. You have to be willing to shake things up. You have to prioritize winning over comfort and familiarity, and that's where we keep failing. The 3 for 5 or 3 for 6 type of deal is what we need. We consolidate 3 okay players into 5 or 6 players with higher upside and better fit. We get younger, we get more athletic, we get more balanced. Yeah, we might lose some batting average with Bohm leaving. We might lose some innings from Suárez. We might lose some outfield defense from Marsh. But what we gain is so much more valuable: depth, flexibility, upside, financial relief, and players who actually fit what we're trying to do. That's addition by subtraction, except we're also adding legitimate talent in return. Here's the deal structure I'm envisioning: Bohm, Suárez, and Marsh to Milwaukee for Garrett Mitchell, 2 pitching prospects who are AAA ready, a lower-level catching prospect, and maybe a throw-in reliever. Mitchell gives us the true center fielder we desperately need. He's got speed, defense, and enough bat to hit 7th or 8th. The pitching prospects provide immediate organizational depth. The catching prospect is insurance for when Real Muto inevitably breaks down, and the reliever gives us another arm for the bullpen, which Lord knows we need. Milwaukee gets 3 major league contributors for their playoff push. It's a win for both sides, which is what good trades look like. Or maybe it's Cleveland. Send the same package to the Guardians for Tyler Freeman, 2 of their endless supply of pitching prospects, and a defensive-minded outfielder from their system. Freeman can play multiple positions, giving us versatility we don't currently have. The pitching prospects are organizational depth. The outfielder addresses our defensive needs. Cleveland gets 3 guys who fit their roster perfectly. Again, everyone wins, except we're refusing to even explore it because we're too attached to what we have. The analytics back this up too. When you look at wins above replacement, when you look at projected future value, when you look at age curves and contract status, this trade makes overwhelming sense. We're trading declining or peak value players for ascending players with more team control. We're trading redundancy for scarcity. We're trading comfort for upside. Every objective measure says this is the move to make. But baseball decisions aren't made objectively, they're made emotionally, and that's why we're stuck in neutral while better-run organizations lap us. The front office will say they explored all options. They'll say the asking price was too high or the fit wasn't right or some other excuse. But the truth is simpler. They're scared. They're scared of fan backlash. They're scared of admitting mistakes. They're scared of being bold when playing it safe feels easier. And that fear is going to cost us a championship because while we're scared, other teams are making the hard decisions. Other teams are executing the bold trades. Other teams are getting younger and better while we're getting older and more expensive with nothing to show for it. This is the secret trade package that could fix everything, and it's going to remain secret because it's never going to happen. We're going to enter next season with the same flawed roster, same defensive issues, same lack of depth, same problems we've had for 3 straight years. And when we lose in October again, everyone's going to act confused about what went wrong. But it won't be confusing at all. We'll have lost because we refused to make the moves necessary to win. We'll have lost because we chose comfort over competitiveness. We'll have lost because when the perfect trade was sitting right there, we were too scared or too stubborn to pull the trigger. And that's going to hurt worse than any on-field failure ever could.